the younger ones from amongst you, who understand what I'm talking about, who understand my speech. There's an ayat of the Qur'an in which Allah categorizes His servants who are believers. ثُمَّ أَوْرَثْنَا الْكِتَابَ الَّذِينَ اصْطَفَيْنَا مِنْ عِبَادِنَا فَمِنْهُمْ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ وَمِنْهُمْ مُقْتَصِدٌ وَمِنْهُمْ سَابِقٌ بِالْخَيْرَاتِ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. Allah Ta'ala in this ayat described the believers and He made them three categories. And our youth, they fall into these three categories. The first category are those people who are oppressive towards themselves. The zalim li nafsihi. He's an oppressor towards himself. It's the youngster who, during this vacation, these summer months, he didn't pray, he didn't fast, she didn't wear hijab. Some of them were arrested by the police. They found themselves arrested during the summer months. That's what they put forth. Some of them, as I heard just recently about a situation, the single mom has one child, 17 years old, 18 years old. He's the apple of the eye of his mother, everything that she has in this dunya. But to show his protest that he's not happy with his mother, trying to keep him on the deen, the boy runs away, causing all kind of stress to the mother. Sleepless nights. Those are the people who are zalimeen to themselves. May Allah Ta'ala forgive us and forgive them. Guide us and guide them. And then the second group are the middle groups that the Prophet ﷺ called them the muqtasad. Allah called them the muqtasad. The muqtasad is the individual who he does the wajibat and he leaves off the muharram, the things that are haram. Is a good group. They're the youngsters in our community who fasted the month of Ramadan, the youngsters of our community who attend the masjid, attend the lessons, the girls who wear hijab, those individuals who were helping their parents. The boy has a job, the girl has a job, they go to work all the time, they grind, they hustle, they bring that money back home, they help their families. They're in the middle. It's business as usual for those individuals. They do the wajibat and they stay away from what's haram. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to increase them in khair. And then we have the third group that was mentioned in the ayat, and the third group are the sabiqun bil khair. Those people are uppermost. They're the ones who are far ahead of everybody else. Like the youngsters who led us in the Ramadan, Qiyamul Layl, in the Taraweeh. You didn't do it. No one in the audience did it. It was some of those youngsters who reached the age of 16, 17, 18, even younger than that. In Old Bury, I prayed behind a kid who was about 12 years old, 11 years old. They're those individuals who in the month of Ramadan, in these months of the summertime, some of them went to make Umrah. Some of those individuals from those youngsters, they made ihtikaf in the last 10 days. Some of them completed half of their religion in these summer months. And the boy and the girl got married, completed half of the deen. They're the sabiqun bil khairat, those individuals. They did a lot of good in the months. So those individuals, we want to ask Allah Ta'ala to accept it from them and to keep them on the Sirat al-Mustaqim and to make all of us and all of our shabab on their situation. So now that these summer months are over, we want to address you shabab about something that is really serious and really critical. Because the masjid has to take a position in this issue and it has to be clear. And you parents have to take issue with this and you have to be clear. And that is the extremism that the religion of Islam prohibited us from. The religion of Islam made it haram to be an extremist in every shape, form, or fashion. And extremism, ikhwani, it has many thobes, it has many colors. It's not one thing. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Qur'an, Ya Ahlul Kitab, La Taghlu fi dinikum. Oh Jews and Christians, don't go and be extreme in your religion. So as a Muslim, you have to know extremism is not the sole property of the Muslims. Allah told Ahlul Kitab, don't have extremism back then and right now. So that goes to show for us, extremism is impermissible. The Prophet ﷺ told his community, Iyakum wal ghuluwa fi din. Beware of being extreme in your religion. And there are other forms of extremism, and they are many. I don't have time to get into all of that. I'm warning the youngsters of our community against being extreme, against being radical. And extremism is a lot of interpretations and meanings and expressions and manifestations. From extremism is to make something haram that Allah made halal. That's a form of extremism. Telling people they can't eat this, they can't eat that, they can't drink this, they can't drink that, they can't wear this, they can't wear that. Making it haram for a person to get married. That's extremism. That's a form of extremism. Islam came to get rid of that. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la tuharrimu at-tayyibati allati ahalla Allahu lakum. Don't make the good things that Allah made halal for you. Don't make them haram. That's extreme. That's one of the many forms. The man saying, I'm not going to get married, I'm going to pray all day. That's extreme. Don't do that. Be balanced. So when we read Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim, you young people, the meaning of that is, don't make me an extremist in anything. One of the types of extremism in the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the fact that people go too deeply into things unnecessarily. That's a form of extremism. The person who overanalyzes, he overthinks. Something is said to him, he sees something, and instead of taking it for face value, he goes overboard. He overthinks. What did the person mean? What did this thing mean? It's the one who has wiswas and he keeps making wudu over and over. That's not permissible in al-Islam. Halak al-mutanatti'un. Those people who go too deep, they're going to be destroyed. We have people in our masjid, they're not extreme in anything other than overthinking. Why are you overthinking? Why are you overthinking? He said what he said and he meant what he said. Why are you making it into that? And then you get tied up into knots and it affects the quality of your life and your relationship with people who are close to you. There are many forms of extremism. The worst form of extremism, Ummatul Islam, you young people, is the extremism that leads to shirk and kufr, where a person goes overboard and he raises up a human being beyond his status and his level. It was an issue that caused the Prophet to curse, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Yahud and the Nasara. لَعْنَ اللَّهُ الْيَهُودَ وَالنَّصَارَى اتَّخَذُوا قَبُورَ أَنْبِيَائِهِمْ مَسَاجِدَ. May Allah curse them because they took the graves of their prophets as masjids. Isa ibn Maryam, Rasulullah Muhammad, Uzair, the Shaykh. You must follow the Shaykh. From extremism, being overboard, ghulu, is what we find in Birmingham with some of the ghulat who claim as Salafiyya, and they just talk bad about people, and that's all you have to offer. And we have some serious issues that we're dealing with, and that's all you have to offer is criticizing the Muslims with ignorance and so forth and so on. Don't be extreme and don't be from the ghulat. The worst extremism is the extremism in the deen. But there is one specific type of extremism that I came to talk to you young people about today. It is specific. Generally speaking, overall, extremism is not tolerated in the deen. And there are different types of being extreme. The single most form of extremism is worshiping other than Allah. But this extremism that I'm going to talk about today, inshallah, it is also one of the worst types of extremism. It's causing us problems. And that is what is known as violent extremism, where a person's extreme behavior and understanding and existence causes him to lash out and to harm other people. That's how extreme he is. He's not extreme to the point where his being extreme is just his own issue, dealing with him. But it's going to reach out to other people and it's going to spill the blood of other people and destroy the lives of other people. And this is something peculiar to the youngsters in our community because why? The young man and the young woman in the Sunnah of Allah, his and her intellect is not complete. So as a result of having ikhlas, as a result of feeling disenfranchised, marginalized, that young person sees what's going on in the world and he gets upset and he or she wants to do something, they do something crazy. An example of violent extremism is the extremism of the racist state of Israel. The racist state of Israel that kills innocent people because of what they believe. The Israelis believe that they're better than everybody else. It is a racist hatred state. And also the extreme support that they get from the West that cuts the legs off from below, the people of this community, normal mother and fathers, imams in our community, moderate Muslims who don't apologize to anybody about this religion. Al-Islam is the haqq. Anyone who doesn't embrace it, I believe he's going to go to hell. But everybody can exist and live in their life. Islam didn't come to make confusion and oppress people. So there are normal mothers and fathers who are making efforts trying to keep their children from being extreme and radical. Imams who are trying to do the same thing. Masjids trying to do the same thing. And then we have the newspaper and the media and the foreign policy of these governments supporting that violent extremism of Israel. So then our young underdeveloped children, they respond to that. Their response isn't correct and it's not acceptable, but you're helping to create the problem. That is violent extremism from Israel and the people who support them. So know that and don't be in any doubt about that. Extremism is not solely our property. So from the extremism that we're trying to warn our kids from, what the extreme state of Israel does and what the foreign policy of the Western countries support in hurting Muslims, harming Muslims, and doing bad in our countries, it doesn't give you the right to be a nasty person, a bad person. It doesn't give you the right to go somewhere and throw your life away. It doesn't give you that right. So I want to tell you youngsters in this masjid, one of the best ways that you can protect yourself and you can save yourself from falling into drama and unnecessary problems is to connect yourself to the people who have knowledge of this religion, especially the scholars of Al-Islam. And when I say the scholars, I'm not talking about that buzzword that we have today. People of the Sunnah, the scholars, the scholars, the scholars, and it's just blind following. That scholar came and he didn't give us that much. He's not even a scholar. His talk didn't give us that much benefit. But because we say scholar, scholar, lama, people are going overboard with people. All he has to do is give an opinion for, against, and we just follow that. No, we're talking about the scholars and the truth that they bring. Not blindly following personalities. That's going overboard. So we have to do what the people of the past did. The religion of the Prophet ﷺ left us this concept. If you're young, slow down, pump your brakes and relax, and look at what the people who have knowledge from amongst you, who are living with you and around you, look at what they're saying and look at what they're doing. So we came here, Ikhwani, to make it clear to our Shabab. ISIS of Iraq is an organization, a group of people who are from the Khawaarij. And that group of people, you should know them. You should know. This word Khawaarij, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned it. And he told us that they were going to be here for a long period of time. They sprouted their heads up, as we mentioned in so many hadith and duros, they sprouted their heads up during his time, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then after his time, the Khulafa Rashidin had to deal with them, especially Ali ibn Abi Talib. So the ISIS organization, that group in Iraq, is a group that no Muslim in his right mind should have any doubt in his head, in his heart, are these people I should support? Their dawah should be supported. And along with them, Boko Haram, the Shabab of Somalia, all of those groups are the groups that make fitna and fasad, and they're extreme. And the Muslims should avoid that. The scholars of Islam, put Abu Usamah on the side. The ulama of Islam, on the top of the list is Shaykh Abdul Muhsin al-Abbad, and other than him, they have given detailed exposés with dalils from the Qur'an and the Sunnah and what these people are doing to show, hey, this is not from the religion. I don't advise this, but if you go to the internet, YouTube, you can see that stuff for your own self. Anyone who has any iota of intelligence, knowledge of this religion knows what's being perpetrated in the name of this religion and jihad is nothing but fasad, as Allah mentioned in the Qur'an. ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس لنذيقهم بعد الذي عملوا لعلهم يرجعون. A lot of fasad has appeared in the earth and over the water, and we will cause them to taste the reality of what they did in the hopes that the people will come back. Aren't we tasting the problems as a result of these issues that are going on? The ummah is tasting the problems. So what we have during the time of the companions, radiyallahu anhum, for you young people, is that when people connected themselves to the Khawaarij. Those companions made it their business to grab those youngsters, to talk to those youngsters. That's the responsibility of the mother and the father. That's the responsibility of the masajid. And again, I repeat to you people, the masajid, where the people are coming speaking Urdu, nothing against Urdu, Somali, nothing against Somali language, Arabic, and the audience, the youth are not understanding what's being said. Those days are obsolete. Those days are gone. That helps to make the problem of extremism in our children fester, because they can't understand what is being said. So they go to the individuals screaming up and down from the Muhajiroun, those individuals who don't know anything about this religion. And so when the man in Leicester, the man in Slough, the UK, in Slough, the man stood up a few years ago and said he was the Khalifa in Slough. So when someone hears, a young person hears, a Muslim hears, someone stands up in Iraq and he says he's the Khalifa, everyone has to go and make bay'ah. He doesn't become for 1 second confused. He knows this is just kalam. It's just a dawah. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhu ikhwani, when the Khawarij fought against Ali ibn Abi Talib, Abdullah ibn Abbas and the scholar went over to them people and he started to debate those people. And he said to those people a simple word. He said to those people, what is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you that you can see over there? You're fighting against Ali ibn Abi Talib, the cousin of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the first person to embrace Islam and supported him. He married him to his beloved daughter. And all of the companions are with him, and not a single one is with you. Not a single scholar is with you, ISIS. Not a single scholar is with you. They're all over there. After that discussion, a third of those youngsters, a third of them left the army and came over to Ali ibn Abi Talib's side. Ali ibn Abi Talib, knowing this religion, having justice, he knows that the Prophet said about the Khawarij when he described them, he said about them, Hudafal Asnan, Sufahal Ahlam, they're young with crazy ideas. So he understood their situation. What did he do when they came back? He didn't do anything. He forgave them because he understands they're young. Now as I speak to you people in this audience, you imagine yourself. Over there is Ali ibn Abi Talib, Ibn Abbas, Abu Huraira, Usamah ibn Zayd, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, Amr ibn al-As, and you're on this side against them. Whose mind would allow them to do that? Who in his right mind would allow those companions to be over there and you're on the other side? I tell you who. Abu Muhammad, the Shaykh, he won't allow it because he's above 60. The Shaykh right here, Amjad, he's above 60. He won't allow it. He may not know much about the deen, but they're not going to allow it. The one who will allow himself to be in this equation is the youngster. The youngster who wants the khilafah. The youngster who sees oppression. The youngster who wants to worship Allah, but he doesn't have maturity. So when the individual now, today, when he goes to Syria, when he goes to Turkey, when he goes wherever he goes, Somalia, wherever he goes, and he realizes, hey, this is confusion. I don't want to participate. When he comes back, he's locked up at the airport. Not like Ali ibn Abi Talib. He gets locked up at the airport. She gets locked up at the airport. Hey, people, I am not standing up here screaming about something that is nothing. I'm telling you about something that is something. Before I traveled to Norway in these summer months, I gave the khutbah in a masjid called Masjid al-Furqan in Manchester. Masjid is our masjid. Majority of the people from Somalia. Two young Muslim girls, their background, origin, Somalis, 16. They are going to, after this summer, they're supposed to go to college. Instead of starting college, where they went to Syria. For what? For jihad? For jihad? I'm not talking to you about nothing. I'm talking to you about something. Your child may be on the verge of doing something like that. The little kid, the young boy in Cardiff, he goes and does the same thing. Those are our children. When they come back, if they come back, when they come back, they go to jail. These people now, the extremists who support the extreme violent state of Israel, these media people, they want to make the so-called Muslim flag, haram. The Muslim flag is breaking the law. The flag of ISIS. ISIS doesn't have a flag. The behavior of those people have made these people even think the black flag, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, is a sign of extremism. So if you get caught with that flag, you go to jail, you go to prison. What is that? What is that? The two girls lose their lives for that. You know, a few years ago, the lyrical lyricist, that intelligent young girl who threw her life away, same thing. So Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, he was able to articulate the haqq to those youngsters. They came to their senses, they left that. That was the help of the scholars against the Khawaarij, helping the youngsters. Is jihad. Is jihad. And he's right here in Birmingham, and he's making jihad. Jihad by refuting the people of ignorance, the people of desires and innovation. Another example for our young sisters, for our daughters. The girl, wallahi, she's sincere. She is sincere. She's sincere. She wants to marry a mujahid. She wants to give birth to a mujahid. That's her deen. She's better than that girl over there who wants to be a supermodel. All she can figure out is, what kind of mascara am I going to purchase? She doesn't care about the religion. Like the lady who came from us. The lady who came from us. During the month of Ramadan, when they were oppressing the Palestinians, this lady who's outside of the fold of Islam, who's been jumping up a long time, she went to Israel and said that the leader of Israel should receive the Nobel Peace Prize because of the way he's dealing with Hamas and the Palestinians, and he's not afraid of the censorship of the world. That girl used to be a Muslim, born to people in East Africa, where we come from. So the one who wants to be married to a mujahid, she wants to give birth to a mujahid. Nothing's wrong with that. Sahih al-Bukhari, Dawood salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, he said, I'm going to have relationships with my wives today. This is in the Bible. This is in the Torah. Dawood said, Sahih al-Bukhari, I'm going to have relationships with all of them tonight. Each one will come and they'll deliver a baby, gonna make jihad fi sabilillah. Someone said to him, say inshallah. He didn't say inshallah. All of the children came out. None of the women gave birth to any children except one, and the baby came out handicapped. Al-Imam al-Bukhari put from his understanding the niyat of having a baby or getting married to make a mujahid. So that lady, that's her niyat. But we want our young girls to understand, niyat is not enough. The lady said to our mother Aisha, her name is Mu'adha. She was young. She said to Aisha, why is it, and arguing with Aisha, why is it that the woman, the lady, after she finishes her period, why is it that we make up fasting, but we don't make up the prayer? I think we should make up the prayer. It's more important than fasting. Our mother Aisha became angry and upset. She said, are you from the Khawaarij? Are you from the Hururiyah? Are you from these people who the text is this way and you got your own understanding and you want to make things difficult for people? Listen to what happens when people have this Khawaarij mentality. Look what happens. Look what happens. They make things difficult for themselves and others. The lady, the girl, her period is 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, 8 days. 8 days. She has to make up 40 prayers. 40 prayers. That's what she wants. Make up 40 prayers. Aisha became angry. Said to the young lady, as a dalil for our young women, are you from the Khawaarij, the Hururiyah? She said, that's what the Prophet told us to do. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told us that the lady makes up fasting and she doesn't make up the prayer. The Prophet told us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, don't kill anybody who doesn't deserve to be killed. The Prophet told us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, don't be traveling anywhere without a mahram. The Prophet told you young people, don't do anything that your parents don't know what you're doing. That's what the Prophet told us. Are you from the Hururiyah, from the Khawaarij? How in the world are you going to worship Allah and make Allah pleased with you, and you're behaving in the way that you're doing something like that lady wanted the other lady to do? Make up 40 prayers. Why? The Prophet said, we do this and we don't do that. The Prophet said, you can't travel without your parents knowing about it. The Prophet said, you have to look to those who are older than you. That's our religion. There was one of the tabi'een. His father is one of the 10 people promised Jannah, the best of this ummah. His name is Urwa ibn Zubair. His father is Zubair ibn al-Awam. 10 promised Jannah. This boy, this man, Urwa ibn Zubair, he was from the 7 fuqaha of Al-Medina, the 7 most knowledgeable jurists of Al-Medina. Urwa ibn Zubair. He wasn't a lightweight. He's up there with Uwais al-Qarni. He's up there with Zayn al-Abidin. This man was a scholar in fiqh. Look what happened. He was the nephew of Aisha. So he had close relationships with her and access to her. He said, I was young. Keep this in mind. He said, I was young. So I was sitting with my auntie Aisha. I said to her concerning the statement of Allah in the Qur'an. Allah mentioned in the Qur'an, إن الصفا والمروة من شعائر الله فمن حج البيت أو اعتمر فلا جناح عليه أن يطوف بهما. Verily, Safa and Marwa, they're from the symbols of Allah. So anyone who makes Hajj or Umrah, it's no blame if he goes from Safa and Marwa. No blame. He said, what I understand from that ayah, when he was young, I said to Aisha, what that means is, if you make Hajj or Umrah, and you don't want to go to Safa and Marwa, you don't have to. That's what I understand. She became angry. She said, it doesn't mean that. She said that the ayah, the scholar, she said that the ayah, what it means is, the Ansar of Medina in Jahiliyyah, if they wanted to perform an Hajj or Umrah, they used to worship a Lat. And because they used to worship a Lat, they had a problem. They wouldn't do Safa and Marwa. Because they didn't want to make Lat upset. So when they became Muslims and they wanted to do the Hajj, they say, Ya Rasulullah, we used to not do Safa and Marwa because of Lat. What should we do now? And then Allah revealed the ayat that Safa and Marwa is from the Shahada of Islam. No problem for you to do it now. Meaning it's wajib. It's wajib. From the Arkan of Al-Hajj. You have to go into Ihram. You have to make tawaf around the Kaaba. You absolutely must go to Safa and Marwa. You have to go to Arafah. Now, when the man was young, he was of the opinion, we don't have to go to Safa and Marwa. If a person takes that position, he jams up and he destroys his Hajj. Something big. Because of the understanding of the youngster. And that was Urwa ibn Zubair. I say here, without any hesitation, I think the young Urwa ibn Zubair, 17, 18-year-old Urwa ibn Zubair, I believe, and I don't think anyone will argue with me about this because I mean no disrespect from him. I believe that he's bigger than Nasr ad-Din al-Albani at the age of 17 and 18. I believe he's bigger than Salih al-Fawzan at the age of 17, 18, 19. He was one of the 7 fuqaha of Medina, and yet, from the Tabi'in, and yet, he made a mistake like that. What does it come from? It comes from just naturally being young. So the youngster, he has to relax. He has to realize in these examples, especially when it comes to the Khawaarij. We have too many examples of the companions of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam being guiding lights and guiding posts for young people in regards to these issues. Someone is sitting in that audience and he may be burning with passion. He wants to stand up and scream. And it says, hey, you don't like jihad. Hey, you don't want the khilafah. Hey, you don't want this. You're with the MI5. You're this, you're that. Hey, who's with those people from the scholars of Al-Islam? Nowhere in our religion is the emotions allowed to rule your decisions, to make you do things totally and absolutely. The Nabi from his sunnah, he used to get riled up on the day of the khutbah, but he used to become intense in the way he would speak. But he didn't go to a degree where he screamed and the people thought, okay, this person is coming off as if he's Majnoon. No, it's not like that. People making decisions for and against issues in this religion, it's not connected to your emotions. It's connected to knowledge. And who from amongst us has that amount of knowledge to be able to deal with these types of issues? So what we do is, without any apologies, without being embarrassed or hesitant, we say, hey, slow your roll, pump your brakes. The whole community, get behind the scholars of the Sunnah, the scholars and the ulama of the Sunnah. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ونسأل الله تعالى لنا ولكم السداد والتوفيق. Last thing, Ikhwani, 2 minutes, inshallah. This issue of khilafah and bay'ah, when the Muslim hears about these issues, he should know that our religion is not based upon fawda. I was late almost coming here, left my spot at 5 minutes after 1, and we had to drive fast to get here. And in driving fast, you break the law, and you increase the odds of having an accident or doing something. So we have to be sensitive to that. And we all respect those laws, rightly so. That's our religion. We respect the speed limit on the highway, the motorway, and around here as well. There are laws, rules, and regulations that we give it respect. But when it comes to religion, no respect. Anybody can just jump up and he says, hey, I'm the Khalifa, Abu Usamah, everybody give me the bay'ah. And there are going to be some people who believe that. So concerning you young people, this issue about the Khilaf and the Khalifa. I became a Muslim in 1986. Since 1986 to today, there are about 15 people I heard were the Khalifas. Before I became a Muslim, there were most people calling Khilafah. And fitna came as a result of that. In Egypt in the 70s, and any Egyptian will tell you this, there was a man by the name of Shukri Mustafa al-Masri. He started a group called Jama'at al-Muslimin. They were Khawaarij. He was executed. After he left, and he took the Khilafah. He took the bay'ah from people. After he left, another man came, Abu Ghawth. Then he left, then another one who may be there right now. Wahid Uthman, who knows? Mullah Umar of Pakistan, of Afghanistan. Mullah Umar from the Taliban. He was meant, the Khilafah, the Khalifa. Everybody come and give bay'ah and live in Afghanistan or the mountains of Peshawar. Who in his right mind follows that? So when we hear Abu Baghdadi, Khalifa, Ibrahim, don't allow just mere words, kalam, to get you excited. You have to slow down and see what's going on. What are the adults and the scholars and the people around, what are they saying? Not what you're saying and what you're thinking and what you're feeling. For those of you who don't know, before this man Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi stood up and said what he said, he was on the scene already. There was a Khalifa before him. His kunya is Abu Isa al-Hashimi al-Qurashi al-Urdani. He wrote a letter a few months ago, before this man Abu Bakr became well known. He wrote a letter and said, you have to come and give me the bay'ah because I'm the Khalifa, and they declared war against each other. So the point is, Khalifa, Khilafah, bay'ah, every day people are given the bay'ah. And the Sufis, they're given bay'ah. Just because someone calls for the bay'ah doesn't mean anything. So the last thing that I want to mention, these people, Ikhwani, from the Muhajiroun, Anjum Chaudhry, and these people like that, we say to these individuals, you, Abu Rumaysa, you people go over there and you give the bay'ah. You people go over there and you make jihad. You go over there. As for the youngsters of the Muslims, leave these innocent Muslims alone and stop destroying their lives. I went to Norway last year in the summertime. I went this year. 7 people from Norway, 7 kids. I knew them from before. I went this year. Last month, this month, 7 of them died, killed in Syria. You ask them, why? What is it about? Jihad fi sabilillah. It's not jihad. It's fasad, it's fitna, it's fawda. So you young brothers, inshallah, you young sisters, go back to school, inshallah. Make something of your lives. Do something that people are going to be proud of, starting with your family members, and then our community. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for us and easy for our shabab. We don't want these youngsters to think that we don't see that they have some important role. As parents, we have to do a better role in our tarbiyah with these kids. They're going through a lot. There's a tough time for every child who's a teenager, or even above being a teenager. You want to force them to get married? We need to deal with these people with the reality on the ground. We're creating the problem. We have to be in their lives. We have to try to help the situation. And those of you who have young children, take care of your kids from a small age. Put in the heart and the mind of your kid the love of the sunnah, the respect of the ulama. Help them before they get to this age. And when they get to this age and they have no building blocks, every wind that blows to the right or the left, they're going with that wind. They won't be fooled by any extremism. Not the ghulat of Salafiyah, not the ghulat of any Jama'ah. Sufi, Takfiri, nothing. They'll just know what to do. because their father was balanced, because their mother was balanced, and they were in the picture, warning them and educating them. May Allah Ta'ala forgive us and make us of those people who are truthful in word and deed. Aqim as-salat yarhamakumullah.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
During the khutbah, Ikhwani, we mentioned it was Dawood who went around to those women, and it was Sulaiman and not Dawood. So that mistake is from me. Right now we're going to be led in Salat by one of the youth that led our community in Salat during the month of Ramadan. These are the opportunities that we take to show the youngsters we appreciate their accomplishments and what we expect from the others. They may not be imams in the Salat, but let them be imams in other fields, in the world of academia and other than that. استووا اعتدلوا تراصوا ولا تختلفوا فتختلف قلوبكم وسدوا الخلل إن تسوية الصف من إقام الصلاة من وصل صفا وصله الله من قطع صفا قطع الله. People on the outside, take care of your roles. Don't be in front of the imam. استووا اعتدلوا. Sisters, feet to feet, shoulder to shoulder. The straightening of the salat is from the complete and perfect salat.
الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. هل أتاك حديث الغاشية وجوه يومئذ خاشعة عاملة ناصبة تصلى نارا حامية تسقى من عين آنية ليس لهم طعام إلا من ضريع لا يسمن ولا يغني من جوع وجوه يومئذ ناعمة لسعيها راضية في جنة عالية لا تسمع فيها لاغية فيها عين جارية فيها سرر مرفوعة وأكواب موضوعة ونمارق مصفوفة وزرابي مبثوثة أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت وإلى السماء كيف رفعت وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت فذكر إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر إلا من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر إن إلينا إيابهم ثم إن علينا حسابهم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Just a few short announcements. Firstly, please donate generously on your way out. This masjid relies on your financial support and by the will of Allah, so that you keep providing the activities for the community. This Saturday, lecture is entitled The Supplication of Musa alayhi salam and will be delivered by Asan Hanif. Sisters are taking registrations in the sisters lobby area for various courses. Registration will also be taking place tomorrow from 12 p.m. till 2 p.m. inshallah. Islam-wise will be hosting a one-day intensive course on atheism starting at 11 a.m. in the basement inshallah. Entrance will be via door G. Also, we've had a number of requests for various du'as, so please make du'a for all those in need. Once again, please donate generously on your way out. Jazakallah khair.